It is the 19th of June 2018 and we have just attended a very special wedding. Our friends, Steve and Trish, got married in this church today in Old Brighton.
God of wonder and of joy, grace comes from you.
I am Catalina George, writer and journalist, and today I will tell you about weddings in Romania versus weddings in England. This was the second wedding I've attended since I've been living here with my partner in the West Midlands. Last year we went up north to attend one of his cousin's wedding, and later this year, in July, his best mate from work will be tying the knot. Yes, why do they call it tying the knot? I can think of one detail in a Christian Orthodox Romanian wedding where they tie a knot to connect the bride and the groom together in front of the altar. But I'll get back to this later. First, I will tell you that Romanian weddings still hold a lot of ancestral traditions embedded both in the church ritual and in the rest of the day. In one of these traditions, the groom's best man and the bridesmaid paired up a few weeks or months before the wedding for an important event. They had a personal invitation to deliver to each guest's house. Well, I suspect this was rooted in a time when printed wedding invitations or even WhatsApp weren't around. But personally, I think that this was a lot more of an engaging, socializing way to deliver such an important invitation. The two people were dressed up for the occasion. They would carry bottles of wine and brandy beautifully decorated with traditional embroidered towels. They would share a chat and the joy of the upcoming wedding with every guest who was expected to attend. At 15, I was a bridesmaid for my cousin Daniela, whom I grew up with. I keep fond memories not only of the wedding, but also of the day when we went to invite the guests. A carriage with traditional decorations carried me and the groom's best man around the village, and we also had with us two folk musicians, an accordion player and a clarinet player. After we ended this journey late in the evening, the groom organized a party at his house for all of us, including the godparents. Traditionally, in the Eastern Orthodox churches, we had godparents for weddings, and their role, which was quite ancestral as well, was to guide the newlywed couple into family life with support and advice. And now for the big wedding day. My cousin Daniela got married on a cold but beautiful November day. We spent the afternoon and the evening before decorating the cultural hall in the village where weddings were generally organized. We set up the tables, we put up colorful balloons and colored paper flowers. We also hung up a traditional rug behind the bride's table where the bride and the groom, the bridesmaid and the groom's best man, and also the godparents would sit at the center of the hall. I remember that day I had a really bad sore throat, but I still nipped up to the corner shop to get some ice cream. Maybe naughty of me, but it seemed like a perfect cure for it. Next day, my throat was completely fine. On the day of the wedding, the groom's guests get together at his house. Here also the wedding folk musicians band is present. All of them share a drink of brandy or wine and a snack, and then the bridesmaid leads the groom and his flock of merry people over to the bride's house. Here, one of the funniest wedding traditions takes place. The groom's best man needs to ask for the bride to take her to church. But her family act as though they have no clue as to what they are talking about and why all of these people are suddenly at their gate. So they ask for details. How does this woman look like? So that they can go back in the house and see if they have anybody like that in their family. The groom's best man, of course, describes her in the most beautiful words possible. But what happens next makes everybody laugh. The family bring out the most senior lady in the house and say, well, she's the only one who's not married here, so, well, if she is the one. Of course, everybody laughs, and the groom's best man would protest, no, she's not the one, describes the bride again. Then the family bring a young girl out and say, but she's not for marriage, she's too young, you people just go off and come back in a few years' time. On the way to church, the bride walks first with the groom's best man, followed by the bridesmaid and the groom and the godparents, and then the whole party just behind them. In church, the groom and the bride finally stand by each other's side with the godparents behind. They hold a cross with their right hands together, and the priest binds them like this with a white cloth. This white cloth symbolizes their union into Christ. They also wear the crowns of marriage. At Steve and Trish's wedding, the vicar woman in North Brighton also put their hands together at the end, using the scarf over her robe. Poof, the sun's come out. In my region of Banat, once outside the church after the service, the bride used to throw not only candy for the children, but also an apple with coins all implanted in it, which was the apple of prosperity. Then the bride would lead a row of people dancing. Everybody will hold hands and follow her in what used to be called the bride's dance. After the bride's dance, then everybody will proceed straight to the venue where the party is held. If they walk through the village, some of the guests will shout, "Wedding people, wedding!" just to spread the joy of the event. Many of these traditions are kept even today due to how our recent history has been. Romania used to be a profoundly agrarian country until the beginning of the 20th century, and even later due to the economic recession between the two world wars. But that is an advantage to all our folk traditions and customs. It means that they survived. Now, for all of the Romanians or other ethnics watching, I will tell you about my two experiences with attending a wedding in the UK. One was a humanist ritual, which is more spiritual and not religious. Trish and Steve got married under the Church of England. Steve waited for his bride in the church with all of the guests present as well. And of course, Trish was led to the altar by her father. At first, all the four of them stood together in front of the altar, with Trish's father and with the best man on each side. Then these two stepped away, leaving Trish and Steve in front of the vicar. The service consisted of prayer, exchanging of vows and of rings, and then the vicar's speech. I actually really enjoyed this woman vicar's speech, and I want to talk about this in another vlog. In Romania, we have one major different ritual in the church service. The wed couple, followed by the godparents and led by the priest, circle the table which was set for the service. The priest chants about biblical weddings during this part of the service. But we don't have musical instruments in our Eastern Orthodox churches. But our friend Steve plays the organ at St. Cuthbert's Parish in Donington, where we went for the wedding photos after their ceremony. He also leads charitable choirs in the area, and two of them sang at his wedding: the Hospice Voices and the Marston Singers. My partner Adrian accompanied them on the piano. But one thing made this wedding very special, besides the couple being our friends. Steve led the two choirs, and Trish sang as a soprano for the piece of music which ended the ceremony, "This is the Moment." Truly, a very special moment, on a very special day, marking the official union of two musical souls.